so we have a BloodHound system built yesterday, and it's simply an alignment of 3 different time frames. So we're looking for the daily bar direction. So today we have an up bar direction. We're looking for the range bar direction to match the daily bar. And then we're also using a Pro Ranko or some other hybrid Ranko bar. And we're looking for the smaller Ranko bar to be in the same direction. And then also we have 3 different MACDs that also need to be sloping in the same direction as all 3 time frame bar directions. So that's it. Now let's get BlackBird up and running, and we'll plug the BloodHound system into BlackBird and then also get the order sets set up here. All right, so from our strategies window here, we can select BlackBird, put that on there. And one thing that is needed is the calculate on bar close has to be set to false. So this system, the BloodHound system, works on the current bar. So we want the bar direction for the current day's daily bar. So the only way to get data on the existing bar that's building is to use calculate on bar close set to false. So that's how we can get the current daily bar, right, that's still building. That's how we can get the bar direction for that in BloodHound, and also the current range bar as well. So, all right, so BlackBird has calculate on bar close set to false. Let's enable this. And that's really all we need to do here. So, all right, we have BlackBird up and running. There we go. Let's see here. All right, so we have BlackBird up and running. So the order settings button down here at the bottom is basically the interface for BlackBird. So we'll click on that button and open up BlackBird for us. All right, and this is where we do all of our work in here. So the first thing we need to do is plug in our BloodHound signal here. All right, so we have a BloodHound selected. So now from the pull-down menu, we can load our BloodHound template. So we can click the little ellipses button there. And so our BloodHound template is from yesterday's BloodHound workshop there. So, and you will need that BloodHound template in order to open up this BlackBird file that I'm going to create here. So, all right. So once we have our template loaded into BlackBird, we can click the OK button. And now we're going to select which logic template we want to get the trade signals from. So let's see. So it's the 3 time frame and 3 MACD signals, right? So you can see I have 3 charts, which represents the 3 time frames. And then on the lower time frame chart, I have 3 MACDs. So, all right. And you also have the option to show BloodHound on the chart if you want. And then you could also turn the racing stripes on or off as well. So, but I'm going to leave everything turned on like so. All right. Now I have an email that was sent in with all the order settings here. Now let's see. The one thing that piece of information I'm missing from the email here is the entry order type. So I'm going to just go with a market entry. Okay, great. It is a market order. Awesome. Okay. All right. And now let's see. All right. So we have different profit targets and stop losses depending on the instrument being traded. So the first instrument I have on my charts is the NQ. So we're going to build all the order sets for the NQ settings, and then we'll build a second order set for the ES settings, for the ES profit targets and stop losses. All right, so let's see. Our first target is going to be 4 ticks. All right, so I'm just simply going to use this quick quick setting here, and just put in the 10 tick, and then just go in and adjust it down to 4 ticks, like so. All right, so there's our 4 tick target, and the stop loss is 16. All right, so 16. So again, I'm just going to use that's just a fixed 16 tick stop loss. So I'm just going to use the 10 tick one here, and then we'll go into the initial placement, right, and adjust that down to 16. Right, now your stop losses are always going to be a negative number, right? For a long trade, they will be a positive number for a short trade here. Right, so just keep that in mind. Stop losses are negative, right? Because you want your stop loss below your entry. And then your profit targets, let's take a look at the profit target here. Those are going to be positive for a long trade, and for a short trade, negative, right? So just keep the positive and negative symbols are going to be opposite of each other, right? So just keep that in mind when you're setting up your profit targets and stop losses. All right, so that's our first order set for target number 1. And next, let's just copy A, and I can go into the profit target and go into the initial placement and make the adjustment here. So this is an 8 tick profit target. All right, that's done. And then we have, for the stop loss, we actually have a break even for the stop loss on target number 2 here. So what I'm going to do is hit the black X button here, and that'll delete that stop loss. And I can go in here and go down to the trailing section, and there's a 10 tick trailing with break even. So this has a break even trailing rule already kind of set up for me, so it'll just save me a little bit of time here using this quick setting option here. So I'll click on that. There we go. Now I just need to go in and make some adjustments here. Let's see here. So again, the stop loss is 16 ticks, like that. So there's our initial placement. Now I can go into the trailing actions here and adjust the break even. Now, target number 2 doesn't have any trailing here, so I'm going to take this 10 tick trailing rule and delete it. Right, so I can just hit the X right there, and that deletes that rule, and it just leaves me with the break even rule here. And so the break even is let's see, I believe the break even is just a break even at 6 ticks profit. So I'll just adjust the name there, and then go in and adjust the settings here. So under the initial delay, we're waiting for 6 ticks in the direction of the trade, right? So ticks in the direction of the trade, think of that as profit. That would be a profitable a move in the market. So ticks against the direction of the trade, where it would be the market moving in a losing direction, right? Doesn't matter if it's long or short, right? It's ticks in the direction of the trade. So, all right, so adjust that down to 6. And so this is just a break even. So I need to go into the actions, and we can see here we have the entry price, and it has +1 tick. So we need to get rid of this offset here. set it down to 0. So that's just a break even. Just a plain break even. So if you do want a break even plus 1 or maybe a break even plus 2 ticks, that's where you would do this. You would change the offset here, to a break even plus 1 would be, just an offset of 1, or a break even plus 2, would be a 2, right? And what is a break even? Well, your break even is always your entry price, right? Your entry price is your break even spot. So up here, the price that you always set is going to be your entry price, like so. All right, and break evens can only break even once, right? You can only move your stop loss to break even once. So the repeat is just left to none or no repeat there. All right, so there we go. There's target number 2. Let's see. All right, yeah, so Steve has a question here. About stop loss OCO orders. So he's asking, so now with that stop loss OCO order set, so I take it you're talking about order set B here probably. He's asking, will that be canceling the stop loss and placing a new stop loss? No. This is really a question for your broker to give you, an authorized answer as to how that works at the exchange, but I'll give you my quick understanding, which is that you can't cancel. So if your profit target and your stop loss are placed as an OCO, which that's what BlackBird does. It places your target and your stop loss together as an OCO. If you cancel one, it breaks that OCO and it's broken permanently. You can't cancel a profit target or a stop loss. Basically, in an OCO set, you can't cancel one of the orders and then replace it. Once one of the orders is canceled, that OCO is permanently broken, and the only way you can replace it is to cancel both orders, both the target and the stop loss, and then place the OCO again. So that's my understanding. And also, I believe that is how NinjaTrader operates as well. It follows those rules as well. So, but really, so that's what BlackBird's doing. Whether you can cancel one of the OCOs and replace it, I guess to get a more authoritative answer, I guess talk to your broker about that. So what's actually doing is we're just moving that stop loss. Right. So, and that's what NinjaTrader's ATM does as well. It doesn't cancel a stop loss when it's trailing. It's just taking that order and just moving it to a new price. All right. So we have the second order set done. Now let's set up our third profit target. And let me just check the trailing rules again here. All right. So I'm just going to copy B and then go in and let's see, adjust my profit target. So I need to go in and select the options tab here. So just keep in mind, there's 2 tabs here. So if you were previously on the trailing actions tab, when you open up another order set, it's going to take you to the trailing actions tab. So, all right, so I'm clicking on the options tab here, then I can go to the initial placement and adjust my profit target here for target 3. And that is going to be the big winner here, 40 ticks. All right, so we got 40 ticks in there. We're done. All right, and so the stop loss for target 3 does have some more complex trailing rules. So I'm going to cancel this stop loss again and go back down here to trailing. And again, I'm going to select this 10 tick trailing with break even. And that's just going to kind of set up the framework. That'll get me as close as possible to what we actually want to set up here. All right, so the stop loss, again on the options tab, the initial placement. is going to be 16 ticks. All right, so all three stop losses have a initial placement of 16 ticks. All right, and so now stop loss number 3 has a break even, and it is just a break even at 16 ticks of profit here. All right, so let's go in and adjust our initial delay to 16. And then again, let's go into the actions and remove that break even, remove the +1. So we'll knock that down to 0. There we go. All right, so that break even has been adjusted here to what's wanted. And next, we need to set up the trailing. So the trailing roll, will actually start at 21. Yeah, 21 ticks in profit here. All right, so I'm going to adjust the initial delay. All right, so this trailing, it's going to trail by 16 ticks. And the repeat, so here's the key, and this is the reason why I started the trailing. Actually, I need to rename that. So I started the trailing once there's 21 ticks in profit, because this 16 tick trailing is going to trail every 5 ticks. So we have a repeat of every 5 ticks. So it's going to be ticks in direction. There. Stretch that out a little bit. There we go. So every 5 ticks in profit is when the trailing kicks in, right? Will occur. So actually, this is a 16 tick trailing. So starts at 21 ticks in profit there. There we go. All right. So when we move to break even, right, that break even occurs at 16 ticks in profit. So the trailing roll doesn't need to start trailing yet. I could set this to trail at 16 ticks. But I guess I kind of got a little fancy with it and just decided to start the trailing on the next 5 ticks of profit, right? So I took the 16 ticks of profit for the break even, added 5 ticks, and that's how I came up with 21 ticks to start the 16 tick trailing there. So, but either way, it would still work if I knocked this down to 16 ticks as well. All right. So with that in place, I believe that does it. Let me just double check the email here. Yeah. All right. So let's save this. So to get this to start firing off, we need to turn on the auto trader. So enable that. And let's see, our current range bar is down, so we will need to move the market up so that this range bar is in a positive direction here. All right, looks like a couple more ticks and our range bar will be positive. Bingo, there we go. Okay, let's slow this down a little bit. All right, target 1 hit, and yeah, there's no trailing rolls yet. Okay, there we go. So B went to break even there just prior to target 2 getting hit. And now our last target and stop loss. The stop loss will move to break even at 16 ticks here. So let me, let's see here. What is that going to be? 4 points on the ES. There we go. Bingo. 4 points. Stop loss moved to break even. And now, once we get to 21 ticks, let's see, which will be 5.25 points. Yeah, there we go. So the stop loss just moved up a little bit, moved up 5 ticks. And so every 5 ticks in profit, our stop loss will inch up 5 ticks at a time. Right? All right, almost there. We should get another stop loss movement here in just a moment, unless we already did. Oh, there it is. There's that last, I think that's the last stop loss move until that target gets hit. Okay, great. So let me just neutralize the trend. I'll close this out and we can start working on the order set for the ES here. All right, actually, I guess it's not going to matter what I do with the market trend here. I need to switch over to the ES. All right, so to do that, I'm going to need to change my data feed connections here. So a good practice to do with NinjaTrader is, if you're going to do anything that's going to interrupt your strategies, it's good to use the flatten everything button, because NinjaTrader will safely cancel all your orders and shut down all your strategies for you. All right, so that way you know that you don't have any orders left open, inside of NinjaTrader. Even if it's, a simulated order, canceling those simulated orders just kind of prevents some notifications from NinjaTrader that you have orders left open that can never get canceled sometimes. So, all right. Anyway, so let me connect to my live data feed. Oh, sorry. Let's disconnect from the simulated first. There we go. Connect to the live data feed, and I'll switch my charts over to the ES here. Yeah, so let me sync all my charts. There. All right, so I'm going to switch over to the ES now, and let me add this little tip from yesterday's BloodHound workshop. So this lower time frame chart that BlackBird is running on, because we're using daily bars, something that you have to do for NinjaTrader is in our data series, we have to load more than 20 days of data, right? So, and that's because NinjaTrader requires at least 20 bars before it does any calculations, right? So on the daily chart, we need at least 20 bars on the daily chart before NinjaTrader can start calculating something on the daily chart, right? So 20 bars on the daily chart means 20 days. We take 20 days, and then on the 21st bar, NinjaTrader starts calculating. So I took 21 and then just added an extra day for good measure. So, all right, yeah. So on your lower time frame, just remember, if you're using daily bars in your system, in your BloodHound logic, that you will need 21 days minimum to get to be able to get calculations from the daily bars. All right, so let's close that. And all right, so the ES chart is up. And let's see, so what do we have here? So yeah, we're up on the ES today as well. And our range bar is up as well. So it looks like we'll be taking long trades again on the ES. All right, let's see here. If you guys notice, I have my strategies tab selected here. Now, this is interesting, but most of the time, when you change instruments, or if I'm not sure exactly what the cause is for this, but when you make changes to your chart that a strategy is running on, for example, BlackBird, quite often the strategy will become disassociated with the chart. But I can see here BlackBird is still listed on this chart, so it did not get disassociated. But keep in mind that when you are making adjustments to your chart, that you might have strategies, BlackBird strategies or Raven strategies, listed here on your strategies tab that are no longer associated with the chart. And so it's a good idea to keep those, clear those out every once in a while. Probably should check on this at least once a week, and just delete those from this list here, and that keeps the Ninja's database clean. So because strategy information actually gets saved in Ninja's database. But yeah, I can see here that this BlackBird that's listed here, the instrument is the ES. So when I switch this chart over to the ES, BlackBird stayed associated with this chart here. And also I can tell because the name is up here in the corner as well, right? I still got the name up there. So, but yeah, just keep that in mind. A little tip, another little Ninja tip there. All right, so I'm gonna go into the strategies here. Go to BlackBird, and let's enable this. All right, yeah, and let's see here. Oh yeah, shoot, on the NQ I didn't refresh my chart to bring up BloodHound. I had forgotten to do that here. But yeah, so loading, basically changing the chart instrument and loading up BlackBird loaded up BloodHound on the chart here. So when you do have BloodHound being loaded up from BlackBird, you will need to go and select the correct logic template that BlackBird is getting the signals from. All right, so we have BlackBird set up to use the 3 time frame and 3 MACD signal there. All right, so there we go. So now we'll see the signals here. Yeah, also, for those who didn't see yesterday's BloodHound workshop, since this system runs with calculate on bar close set to false, the historical signals will be inaccurate. So because of the multi-timeframes here, only real-time signals will be accurate. So you can't actually go back and look historically at the signals to try and backtest this. It's just not how NinjaTrader disseminates bar data when your system requires calculate on bar close false. Let's see here. All right, so we're starting to get our first trade signal here. So, all right. Oh, before we get started too far, I need to switch my data feeds again. All right. Another way that you can enable your strategy is hit the little enable button there from the strategies tab. Okay, there we go. Now, all right, so we still have the NQ settings loaded in here. So we can take these and just adjust everything for the ES here. Yeah, I guess, yeah, just a little note on what I said earlier here. Yeah, John's just reminding you guys. So I said that you can't backtest this calculate on bar close false system historically. But yeah, as John's letting you guys know, you can use the market replay data connection. Yeah, that's the market replay data connection is Ninja's solution to being able to backtest systems that only work correctly, on a live in a live situation here. So yeah, so this system can be back tested using using the market replay connection here. Yeah, so using Ninja's market replay connection there. All right, so the settings for the ES here. All right, so our profit targets are going to be 3, 6, and 20. So let's just go in there and quickly change those profit targets. That's going to be the easy part. All right, so there's 3 for target number 1. Target number 2 is 6. So we'll go in here and adjust that down to 6. And then target number 3 is 20. So let's go in and adjust that down to 20. All right, targets are done. That was easy. Now the stop losses here. All right, so all the stop losses start at 8 ticks, or 2 points here. All right, so 8 ticks. Let me go into stop loss number 2. Adjust that up to 8 ticks. And stop loss number 3. Adjust that up to 8 ticks. All right, so there's our initial stop loss for all the. There's our initial stop loss offset, 8 ticks for all of them. And now we can get into the custom kind of break-even settings for each of them. All right, so let's see. Stop loss number 2 has a break-even at 4. And yeah, let me ask Steve. So you have a break-even for, stop loss number 2 has a break-even and you got 4 plus 1. So is the plus 1 supposed to be a break-even plus 1? Oh, okay. So that was supposed to be a break-even plus 1. Okay. So we will go back and adjust the NQ1 later because I did not set the break-even to plus 2. Okay, we'll go fix that afterwards. All right, so this is a break-even plus 1 at 4 ticks. All right. So let's adjust our initial delay down to 4 ticks of profit. So there we go. So once we achieve 4 ticks in profit, let's open this up a little bit. So 4 ticks in profit, and then our action is we're going to move that stop loss to the entry price, which is break even, plus 1. There we go. Put that in there. All right, so there's stop loss number 2, just has a break even. That's it. All right, now stop loss number 3. All right, so I believe our break even is going to be at 8 ticks of profit with no break even offset. All right, so just break even at 8 ticks in profit. All right, so let's go, and again, we're going to adjust our initial delay down to 8 ticks of profit. There we go. And our action is already set for us. So it's our entry price, right, which is break even is your entry price, and there's 0 offset there. All right, so the break even is done. Now for the trailing here, so let me read through this again. All right, so this looks like we have a straight 8 tick trailing for every 1 tick in profit. Okay, yep. So let's adjust the name here. All right, so just a straight 8 tick trailing here. All right, so let's see. Actually, it sounds like we don't need the break even. Or let me ask here. So Steve, is the 8 tick trailing supposed to start at 12 ticks in profit? So the trailing does start at 12 ticks. Okay, all right. So we have an 8 tick trailing, but it's going to start at 12 ticks in profit. Okay, So we do need that break even then. So because there's going to be a 4-tick profit gap between the break even between when the break even kicks in and versus when the trailing kicks in. There's a 4-tick stop loss or a 4-tick profit difference between the two. So we do need a break even, and then the trailing will start 4 ticks after the break even kicks in. Okay, so our initial delay, we're going to adjust that down to 12 ticks, right? So the trailing doesn't start until there's 12 ticks of profit, or the trailing will start after 12 ticks of profit. And now the action, so the action, we need to go in here and adjust our offset up to 8 ticks, right? So we have an 8-tick offset from the last price, right? So the last price is, where the market, had last moved from, right? And then the allow movement means that, right, that allows you to set the movement direction of your order. However, stop losses cannot move against the direction. Stop losses only move with the direction. So that's just to keep things simple. That's something that's built into BlackBird, so that stop losses only move in the direction of the trade, right? So there are ways to override that if need be. So, but there's a bunch of other settings that we have to go disable in order to override stop losses so that they can actually move backwards. So, but by default, stop losses will only move with the direction of the trade. All right. Now the repeat, so remember we adjusted the repeat to move every 5 ticks, but for the ES, we want our trailing stop loss to move with every 1 tick in profit. So there we go. Adjust that down to 1. And I believe we are done. All right, so let me move the market down a little bit, and we'll just make a little pullback here. And remember, we need to turn the auto trader on. So enable the auto trader. I'll just do one more bar pullback there. That should be good enough. Okay, now let's move the market up, and we should get some long signals here. Okay, there we go. So let me slow down the trend a little bit, and let's watch this. All right, so when target 1 gets hit, really nothing's going to happen. There we go. Okay, and so we had, 6 ticks, and our second stop loss had moved to break even, +1 real quick. That happened really fast there. So, but now, once we get to 2 points, there we go. Our stop loss moved to break even. And so now, for every, let's see here. Oh, oops, looks like I still have that 5-tick. Oh, no, that's right. We're waiting for, 3 points in profits before the stop loss started trailing. That's what that was, yeah. All right, so every tick the market moves up, their stop loss will move up with it. And bingo, there we go. And yeah, the way this BloodHound system is set up, BlackBird's just going to keep entering trades, if the trend keeps continuing like so. All right, yeah, so Steve is asking, do we have a chat area so that you BloodHound and BlackBird owners can talk some shop? So yes, we absolutely do. We have a forum. From our website here, you can see at the top there's the forum link. So you can click on that. Various sections here. So there's a BlackBird section here to talk about kind of various BlackBird settings and things like that. Then there's a BloodHound section where you guys can talk about trading ideas, right? There's several trading idea areas, right? There's a trend trading ideas, counter trend trading, breakout trading ideas, multi-timeframe ideas, things like that. If you guys need help, want to help each other out, with using indicators or maybe building indicators for BloodHound, there's a indicator help area. There you go. Custom strategy development area there. Section for Raven, the bar types, the other miscellaneous shark indicators, such as the heat map. So there you go. There's a bunch of different sections in here. And there's also a file sharing section here as well. I guess we'll wrap it up here. So again, guys, just a reminder, these workshops run on your guys' questions. They're powered by your questions. So please send your questions in. All right, it's always good to email your questions in ahead of time. That way I get a chance to review them, and quite often there's missing information that I need to know. So if you guys send your questions in a day early, it gives me an opportunity to email you back and get that missing information. It just helps these workshops run a lot smoother if I have all the information to begin with. So it's really nice when you guys email your questions in, and also you can email your screenshots in. So, right, screenshots are very helpful in trying to explain your idea. For example here, John had emailed a screenshot in with his question here, just simple screenshot, right, with a little annotation and marking the areas, excuse me, for that information. A chart, speaks volumes here. It's a lot easier to come up with a screenshot and annotate it than it is to try and write it all out. So that's another big benefit of sending us an email, is you can send screenshots in as well if you have a complex question. All right. Well, with that, guys, I think I've stalled as long as I can to see if there are any last minute questions, but doesn't look like it. So with that, have a good weekend, guys, and I hope to see you guys next week. And yep, keep your questions coming. All right. And also, just if you do want your questions answered in the workshop, be very specific in your email and let Mike know that your question is for the workshop. All right. So, and he'll save it for me. Otherwise, Mike has a tendency to just answer the emails as quickly as he can. Thanks, guys. All right. See you next week. Bye-bye.